Let's check out the chart action for Dogecoin. Okay, so here's what I'm looking at. In my last video, we were looking at a falling wedge, something like this. We got a breakout to the upside, and I was talking about how I was targeting this previous resistance, and if we could break through this level, that we're going to be targeting this previous resistance. So we came up, we hit our first target, and then now it looks like we're coming up to hit this target, I think. I'm looking at a target of around 52,726, this previous resistance. I think also if we could break out of this little box here, we're going to be setting a higher high, and we can look to test even maybe the top or these previous resistances right here, which is sitting around 59,124 or maybe 63,749. Maybe we could even break through this. Let's see. We're going to have to wait and see if we could break through this one first though. But this does look pretty good, and this pattern played out, at least so far. We hit our first target. Let's see if we could come up and hit the second target and possibly even break out of this. One thing I'm watching though is we have resistance right here and resistance right here. I'm watching a downtrend, something like this. It looks like we're coming up and right about to test that, or we're coming into contact right now with that line and testing it. Let's see if we could break through it. It looks like we're getting a little bit of resistance, so I'm not sure if it's going to roll over after this because of these two resistance levels right here going down, pushing that trend line down, or if we're going to break through it and be able to come up and break through out of this box. I think, like I said, I think if we could break through out of this trend line, I think we will break through and start pushing to the higher highs. But it's possible that we kind of fall back down and have to retest some of these, like this 9 moving average that we have right here, something like that. I'm not sure what's going to happen, so I am waiting for this trend line to see if we go higher or if we roll over. Let's jump over the Bitcoin dominance chart. This chart looks pretty decent. We'll have to see how this plays out, but it looks good right now. So what I was looking at is we had resistance, 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 and then we had support, pretty much all in here. We dipped below it a couple times, but I think what I was really watching is this line to start out with. We dipped below it right there, but it did kind of end up holding support on it. So what I was looking at is a rising wedge pretty much. It looks like we're breaking to the upside right now. Let's see if we could keep this momentum going to the upside and this isn't just a fake out and we get crushed back down to the downside. But we could possibly target from the top to the bottom of this wedge, drag that to the breakout, and we're looking at a target of approximately 44.40. I don't know what that means on the Bitcoin dominance chart. I think that's 44%. So what we're looking at is this previous resistance level, something like this. If we can come back up somewhere right there, I'd be looking at a level something like that. So in general, if this chart is moving up, that means that Bitcoin is just taking over. I've been kind of curious. If we zoom out a little bit, go to the weekly time frame, you can see this triangle pattern I've had right here. We broke to the downside right there, and I've been watching these previous support zones, these previous bottoms. I did horizontal lines, and I was watching both of these lines pretty much, and gonna wait to see once we hit these lines, then I'm gonna start looking at Bitcoin a lot more. And we came down, hit this first one, got a bounce on it, hit it again, and it looks like we're getting another bounce on it. I'm kind of curious if we're gonna come down and retest this bottom, but so far it looks like this one is holding some support. So we're gonna have to wait and see if we can get a little uptrend going, a better uptrend, or keep this momentum going, should I say. But if we look at the moving averages too, it does look like we did just break above the weekly 9 moving average, which isn't, I mean, this is definitely a good sign, but we also did that in this area here and we couldn't hold above it. We broke back below. So we're going to have to wait and see if we can stay above this weekly 9 moving average and it starts to give us support as opposed to breaking through it and giving us resistance. I mean, as you can see, right here, we broke below it back here. Weekly time frame 9 moving average, we broke below it and we just kept on getting resistance. So it's just been a big downtrend ever since this area right here, since we broke below it. That was the first one. And yeah, we broke back. I mean, we tested it right here, but we weren't able to stay above it. So same with right here, we broke above it and weren't able to stay above it. Broke back below it, and right now we're gonna have to wait and see if we could stay above it. If we look at the moving averages on the monthly time frame, where the 9 moving average is sitting right here, so we broke below the 9 moving average on the monthly right here. let's see if we could break above the monthly 9 moving average on the Bitcoin dominance chart. I think that's one of the big things that I'll be looking at. The monthly time frame, 9 moving average. I think if we could break above this, then Bitcoin might be starting to get bullish. I think the same thing though, we're going to be wanting to wait for support on it, but I think it'll be definitely a good sign to break above it. When we broke back above it right here, we got that nice little uptrend, broke below it, downtrend, and we broke back above it for a second. I want to see us do something like this where we stay above it rather than just break above it for a second. So, but I think in general, when we do break above it, we're going to see a nice move for Bitcoin, and it looks like it might be getting some support here at the bottom. I have a feeling that we might be able to break back through. So that's one of the main things I'm looking at on Dogecoin, or that's one of the, I mean, not Dogecoin. That's one of the main things I look for on Bitcoin, is if this chart's doing good or bad, whether to go in on Bitcoin or the altcoins. Let's check out the total crypto market cap real quick though. Okay, so we're looking at the total crypto market cap on the daily time frame. We have resistance right here, resistance right here. We were watching this downtrend right there. We broke out of that, going to the upside. What I'm watching now is we have an uptrend right here. It looks like we've been dipping below that uptrend. I'm on the 4. I mean, I was watching it on the 4-hour time frame, and we got some dips below it. I readjusted it. It looks like we're still trending up though. We had this kind of like a triple top, something like that, and it looks like we're kind of breaking through. We're getting really close to like a bullish confirmation. I think if we can keep this momentum going and kind of break out of this little zone right here, just keep pushing up, we might be able to target from the top to the bottom of this little channel pattern, something here. We might even be looking at some sort of flag. Drag from the top to the bottom of that channel, drag that to the breakout, and we're looking at a target of 2.27 trillion. Like I've been talking about on my videos, I've been targeting this 2.2 trillion area, and right now we're right at 2.203. Let's see if we can break out of this level, and then we can start looking for our next previous resistance, which was at 2.39, 2.4 trillion, somewhere around there. Let's say around 2.38 to be conservative about it. I think somewhere around there. If we zoom out a little bit, we've also been talking about how we have resistance right here and resistance right here. We have a downtrend, something like this. We're going to want to watch this area at around 2.35 trillion as well for resistance. I think if we could break this trend line though, this is going to be really good, and I just got goosebumps thinking about like if we can break out of this right there, because I think we'll be testing new highs at that point. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what the total market cap does. In general, if this chart is moving to the upside, we can be more confident on our bullish targets. Right now, we are definitely in this uptrend right here. This can break to the downside at any minute, or I mean, it looks like we're really close to that trend line. So it's possible that we do break to the downside and get a correction. However, we still are on this uptrend. Let me delete some of this stuff so you can see it a little bit better. We're still on this uptrend right here pretty much. So for now, we've been getting support on it every time we come into contact. Let's see if we can continue that. Like I said in my last video, I was watching this uptrend, this resistance line, something like this, and I was kind of curious if we were going to break through to the upside or break this trend line going to the downside. I'm still kind of curious. Let's see if we could really break out of this with more momentum, and then we can kind of start targeting the previous resistances up here, possibly up here, or maybe even somewhere up here. Okay, so if we go back to Bitcoin, like I said, we're watching this downtrend right here. We're coming into that trend line right now. Let's see if we could break through it. I'll be looking at 53,000, and if we could break through this level right here, then we could target maybe around 59,000, and then maybe even 63,000 or 64,000. We're gonna have to wait and see. This is step 1, this is step 2, and then maybe step 3 and step 4. We're gonna have to wait and see. Let's see what happens. If you're new to technical analysis, check out this playlist. It's going to have a lot of valuable information for beginners. Alright, if you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Hope you guys have a great day.